up, everybody? Finally gonna do the Ripper 2 medium review, and I got the small coming next too, and we'll do a little comparison, but finally getting around to do it. Haven't had a lot of time lately. The specs will be somewhere on the screen here. This boat is 8'11", comes in about 44 pounds, width is 25.5, and gallon wise is 62 gallons. They said the range is about 145 to 210 pounds, so yeah, those are the specs. Let's just go over kind of the boat here. Again, I always tell everybody to check out Wade's video for a full walkthrough. He knows more about like the ins and outs of the boats than I do, but we'll just go do a quick walkthrough here. As you can see, the bow here, starting up the bow, two nice grab handles. Get your hand under there pretty nicely. Nice looking bow with some cool little deck lining and stuff like that. You know, nothing crazy, but also looks pretty good. Coming out into the cockpit, you got a lot of bolts here with Pyranha as usual. That's just a Pyranha thing. And then the stern, you got two grab handles here. Again, these are kind of hard to get your hands through, but they'll, if you got caught, a carabiner will fit through there just fine. And then you one on the back, so that's nice too. As you can see, just compared to the Ripper 1, it's got a little kind of more cutout on the stern, a little bit wider, and kind of, again, dips back up and gives you a little bit more rocker here on the stern compared to the Ripper 1. And then just coming up here, you got a little bit more knee volume. The Ripper 1 tended to press down on your knees a little bit more, so more knee volume for comfort and for safety for creaking. In the bow, you got a little bit more volume here in the bow, and obviously more rocker to get up and over the booth. So that's just kind of overview of the top of the boat. We'll flip this thing over here. Alright, so here's the hull of the boat. And it's kind of really a hybrid hull, kind of a cross between like an aggressive Ripper and, I don't know, maybe a Rewind, I would say. But you have a decently sharp edge here, and it comes out and it softens up though when you get around get to the sidewalls. And then they put the wave deflectors here on the front. I guess that's what you call them. But it's got a pretty nice loose hull, but it's also very soft and forgiving too at the same time. Good primary and secondary stability on this boat. Makes it for a great all-around half slice. But yeah, plastic wise, this has about, I don't know, 10 runs on it. As you can see, the plastic seems to be holding up pretty good. And the stern, you know, is pretty thin, but there's no drain plug or anything to have to worry about. And looks pretty good here. I mean, I've done a lot of stern squirts in this boat, holding up pretty well. So plastic wise, seems pretty good so far. So just go over the outfitting a little bit. Standard Pyranha outfitting as usual here. Now me on the medium, I always do videos based on my weight and size. So I'm like, again, 5'9", 145 if you haven't seen my videos. So for the medium, all Pyranha mediums, I have to have the hooker thigh brace things in here. Without those, my skinny thighs just fall right out. I have them on the most aggressive setting here. You got your standard bulkhead. I think I have it on set on 5 on each side. That's with me wearing full Astrals on. And then the seat wise, I have 2 seat shims this way and 2 folded over this way back here. And I got 4 seat shims on each side for the hips. So I got a lot of outfitting in here. And this is just a medium again. You have to outfit this boat pretty well for a smaller paddler to really get engagement with it. But once it's outfitted, it fits really good. And you feel nice and tight in there, especially with the hookers. I would say if you're my size, I absolutely have the hookers in the medium. The small, I don't have them. We'll go over that boat later, but yeah, the medium, that's a must-have. But that's pretty much the outfitting. You know, you got a place for your water bottle. What's not here, throw up sponge, or you can put it here, either one. Same old back band thing. Do a little Wade's back band trick if you want. That's my most complaint about all Piranhas is this flimsy back band. But anyway, I got this thing cinched pretty tight because, again, I'm a small guy. But yeah, with the padding and everything, it fits pretty well. So for skirt, these cockpits have gotten a little smaller since the original Rippers. They're not like insanely long, but I probably still would go with the XL and the IR skirts, the extra large cockpit. You might be able to fit a large if you stretch it out, but be on the safe side. Just get yourself an extra large cockpit. So we'll start out with Downriver ratings for the Eddyline rating scale here. So Downriver, I give this thing an 8 overall. It's really good downriver. It does lack that kind of zippy feeling, fast, really top speed that the Ripper 1 had, and also getting up to speed. And compared to like the Chili and stuff, it's not that fast, not as fast as this, but it has enough speed And I think it's fun enough downriver to have a good time in it. Again, it's not like very like carvy edge to edge necessarily like like the Ripper one was, but it's way more forgiving. You can kind of stop it more on a dime and get your line back on track. It has a lot of, again, softness in the bow and stern to correct your lines if you get offline. Also, it's very stable compared to the Ripper one and to like the Chili or something like that. Very stable boat, good primary stability and secondary stability. Feel like you can pretty much tip this thing all the way over and bring it back up if you had to. And also downriver skips over holes really nicely. You can stern load it awesome and just boof right over the holes with that increased bow rocker. I've taken it on the Green, a few other pretty stout rivers, and it does just fine. I have no issue. I would use this as like a creek boat, as like a, you know, equivalent to like a Waka goat or something like that for my size, or even a Steve really. It's not a speed demon, but it does just fine. One kind of caveat here to downriver is this tail will tend to grab a little bit or kind of ride a little bit. I have the seat in the middle. Maybe if I put it forward, it would kind of not do that. It's not as out of the water as like a goat or Steve's, meaning those boats pretty much don't grab at all. This grabs a little bit, but it's not terrible. It has enough volume back here to kind of get you through if you're on the gas. But if you're going through like a stout hole or something, make sure you lean forward and get that late boof stroke going over the hole, and you'll be just fine. But just one thing to note, kind of why it's not a 9 in that rating area. All right, we'll go on to creaking rating. This thing, I'm going to give a 9 creaking. Like I said, I've taken it on the Green and stuff. It does awesome. I feel great. I feel confident in creaking. It's got enough knee volume here to get out. It's got the nice step out pillar for safety reasons. The bow's not going to like piton on you much or get pinned. Stern, same thing. It's got a little bit of stern rocker to kind of avoid that pinning potential. You can load the tail and it gets boofs awesome, skips over holes. It's soft, it has soft enough edges where it comes off rocks and boofs nice. This thing is great for a creeker. I would definitely take it on pretty much any creek that I could think of, especially my size. Again, if you're heavier, you might want to move up to a large, but I'd say for my weight in the 140 to 160 range, this thing would be a great option for a creeker and not be a huge heavy boat, and something, again, you can tail load, use that stern to pivot and stuff like that if you wanted to use it as a creek boat. So yeah, a 9 for creaking. Alright, for playability, this is really the major change from the Ripper 1 to 2. This thing, stern squirting wise, compared to a Ripper 1 medium, and this is way easier to get vertical. I can almost get it vertical in flat water. The small, I can definitely get it in flat water, but the medium, I can almost get in flat water. But any little minor seam or current, this thing goes up really easily. I really have no trouble with it at all. It wants to pirouette really nicely on the stern, which is fun, and it stays up and wants to kind of stall pretty easy. In that regard, it's just way better than the Ripper 1. Also, surfing, it surfs just as good. It's got a little bit more bow rocker to keep it from diving in on you and that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a real fun, playful boat downriver. It's a little bit better than the Rewind, I would say, to get a lot easier to get down on the stern. Surfing wise, it's pretty equivalent. But yeah, it's a very playful boat if you want to practice your stern squirts. Even at my size, even smaller than me, you could probably get this thing vertical. I have a feeling I could get the large vertical. It's a real fun boat. You won't be disappointed in that aspect of the boat. One thing you might have trouble on in my weight compared to the small is like the vertical splats. It's kind of hard to get it like vertical, like right when you're close to something. You kind of have to engage, start the stern pirouette, and then go on the rock that way if you want to get a splat. It is a little hard to get completely vertical, like right on edge of something, but it can be done with the right technique. But if you're looking to do more of that, you might want to go with the small. But yeah, medium still does it, just takes some work. Alright, down to the last rating here for comfort, safety, and all that kind of thing. It's a Pyranha. They're not the most comfortable boats, so I'm going to go with a 7 overall. I will say, one kind of ding is for the medium at least, I have to pad this thing out a lot. So, you know, when you get a boat, you don't really want to have to do all that, but it is what it is. It works, but it's something you have to do, so it kind of gives it a ding. The other ding is just the back band. I'm not a fan of Pyranha back bands, but it gets some kind of pluses for safety. Again, it's got a lot of knee room to get out. The step out pillar is really solid. And everything, once you have it in place with Pyranha, it doesn't really tend to move. Check on it every so often, but the bolts and stuff like that don't come out. Alright, so the last thing I like to say is just, why would you buy a Ripper 2 medium in particular? And we'll talk about the small again in another video. But if you're my weight, a smaller paddler, why would you want a medium? One, again, like I said, it could be used as a creek boat for you. It's very stable, very forgiving, soft on the edges, soft enough to go off rocks and not be super tippy on edge. Also, this boat, why would you want it, is it's a range of paddler. It could be from beginner all the way to expert. I would feel comfortable telling a beginner to buy this as their first boat. It's that like kind of stable and forgiving, but also it has the playability factor that they can learn in and not get totally trashed. This would be a great beginner boat, especially for someone you think who's going to excel right away and kind of get into the sport. I would recommend this highly for someone like that. The other reason is if you want a playful downriver boat and kind of do it all like the Rewind, I would say this is a little better than the Rewind. It's easier to get vertical. Downriver is just as good, and I think it's a little better and safer for creeking because it's the knee volume right here. So if you're in between this and a Rewind, I'm sorry, Dagger, I have to go with the Ripper 2 medium. I think it's a lot easier and more playful, but again, just as good downriver, if not better. So if you want one kayak, kind of do it all, just if that's all the money you have, this is a great boat to get. And again, the last thing, this retails for $16.99. Some companies or retail stores may be able to give you a discount, but that's what they're going for right now if you're not. So yeah, $16.99. Again, Dagger, you're looking at, I don't know what they're up to, like $1,500 or something like that. So not a huge price difference. I think what you'll have to decide on between this and a Rewind is really the outfitting. That's just a personal preference. But boat itself and how it performs, I would definitely go with this over a Rewind. And a lot of people probably ask me, what's better, a Ripper 1 or 2? And my answer to that would have to just say, it depends on your paddling style. If I still had the Ripper 1 medium, I would probably keep both of them. They're different kind of boats. This is more an all-around boat, where the Ripper 1 was more that niche boat, kind of like a Chili, just a speed demon downriver. But this is definitely more playful and better all-around boat, and better for creeking for sure. Sorry, one more thing on this. I forgot to tell you my ideal weight range that I think. Obviously Pyranha gives you theirs, which is like, again, 145 to 210. I think about 130 to 170 would be the perfect weight range for this. Below 130 it's gonna be harder to throw down. Above 170 you're gonna kind of get on the side where you might want to large for some bigger water or bigger creeking. So that's just my opinion.
Jonny O here, bringing you another video. This is a quick snapshot of a big large paddler, 215 pounds, in the medium Pyranha Ripper 2. Just wanted to go over it with y'all and show y'all some footage. I was able to stern squirt it really well, get recklessly vertical. It flies through the water very similarly to the original Ripper once you get it down. It is a little easier to initiate. In regards to the bow over here, the bow is a little bit drier, and the boat does tend to, with the lower volume in the stern, it tends to squat just a smidge. So I felt myself kind of fighting that and getting forward, tightening up the hip flexors a little bit. In regards to knee placement, the knee placement is a little higher. I love that. The original Ripper was a little bit splayed out and a little bit uncomfortable compared to this one. But all in all, I think them boys and gals at Pyranha did a phenomenal job on this Ripper 2. I'm stoked to get in the large and get recklessly vertical and fly off some boofs. It'll probably be my go-to quiver killer.
for the next video, I'll be going over the Ripper 2 small. I've messed it up like 5 times now. And I'll do a little comparison and how they look side by side to each other. So, see y'all later. Thanks, like and subscribe. DB Landscaping advertisement.